Come on. Hurry up. Why isn't it working? Yo, what's going on, everybody? The Cool Geek here, and I'm back with another video. And today is God of Death Flash versus God Goku. Now, contrary to the thumbnail and the title of the video, I'm not actually doing those forms. But I will, I guess, at the end go against those two. But I mean, and it's pretty obvious to me if you know anything about God of Death Flash and God Goku. But alright, let's get on to it. We're gonna mostly be pairing together the most equal versions of each form and see who comes out on top. Starting off with the Flash's feats. We're going to go through each of his forms, and then we're going to go through each of Goku's, and then see which matches up against which and how the outcome is. So the Flash has his phasing ability. He can vibrate his molecules through objects and people, and but this ability does have limits. And you can see here Supergirl knees Flash in the face, and his nose starts bleeding. So he does need time to figure out how to vibrate through certain people, especially on a relative speed to his, if not greater. Next, he can speed steal. And he basically does this by stealing the speed force of the person he wants to turn them into statues. And he has this room full of people. You see he has other Flashes and random other villains and stuff. So yeah. Next, let's go on to the Flash's power. Now the Flash isn't really known for his power, but we do have a few feats that we can kind of gauge the Flash's power. And that would be, one of the first ones that comes to mind would be when him and Professor Zoom were fighting and they were distorting the multiverse. Now, there are two ways you can interpret this that would be wrong. One, the Flash, he affected the multiverse, and that's the same thing as destroying it, so he's multiversal. Wrong. Or two, the Flash, he and Professor Zoom were affecting the multiverse, and the multiverse is infinite, which means they're omnipotent, because half of omnipotence is still omnipotence. No, those are both wrong. This would be right. While typically distorting the multiverse is unquantifiable, kind of like warping space, you can't really gauge what it would be at, but it definitely wouldn't be multiversal, but it would definitely be above universal. It would be more like multi-universal, on the low end of multi-universal, I might add, because he's not really changing the physics of anything, he's just kind of distorting people, right? Now, and distorting their histories and stuff, right? Also, the Infinite Mass Punch, which is kind of a low-ball move, while at the same time being a high ball, because the Speed Force allows him to quote-unquote work with physics, and according to one theory, as your speed reaches the speed of light, your mass grows towards infinite, and the Infinite Mass Punch was stated to be at White Dwarf star level, but that doesn't really make sense when you consider him and Professor Zoom were affecting the multiverse. So yeah, that's a bit of a weird feat. But there's also something else that says that that the Infinite Mass Punch can actually reach more towards infinity above White Dwarf star level, which would be more towards right. Especially considering Superman is not a speedster, which means he does not have access to the Speed Force, which would mean every time he goes faster than light, his mass would reach towards infinite. And yeah, he does have confirmed billions of times faster than light feats when he's sick and borderline dying. And another speed feat for not base Flash, but we're moving on to God of Death Flash, is when we have to scale him from Dark Side, which we scale from Anti-Monitor. Now, Anti-Monitor was basically had his job as reshaping the multiverse, so he would be a low multiversal threat. And that was in post-crisis, but as you can see, this guy here says New 52, Anti-Monitor has the same strength as his post-crisis counterpart. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Now, the reason Anti-Monitor is so important is because him and Darkhand were having this real intense battle, right? They were swapping hands, essentially. And Anti-Monitor wasn't sure if he could win, so he thought he couldn't win, as a matter of fact, so he whipped out his secret weapon, which was the Black Racer. And the Black Racer needs to fuse with somebody in order to do anything. And it ended up fusing with Barry Allen. And Barry Allen ends up fusing with God of Death Flash. Like I said, it ends up one-shotting this Darkseid that was on par with an amped Anti-Monitor. Remember how I said he would be low multiversal? Well, he ate a bunch of universes and then fought Darkseid. And here comes Flash one-shotting him. So yeah, that would put him at multiversal, low multiversal plus, because multiversal in this sense would be like fourth dimensional, and then God of Death Flash would one-shot him. So that would be at least mid to high fourth dimensional, bare minimum. I'd actually put Anti-Monitor at a good mid fourth dimensional, and God of Death Flash one-shotted Darkseid, who was swapping hands with Anti-Monitor. So he would be a good high fourth dimensional. You could say he's fifth dimensional, but that would be a bit of a stretch, because you'd have to say he's infinitely stronger than fourth dimensional, which you could say that, but if he's even around, now I did say he one-shotted Darkseid, but he's still not infinitely greater than him, or else he probably would have obliterated him. I could be wrong, though, that's just my headcanon. But if he's around those levels, he would be high fourth dimensional, and he mid-high fourth dimensional. I wouldn't quite say high fourth dimensional, but I wouldn't say mid-fourth dimensional. I'd go like a mid-high fourth dimensional. So that's where I'd put him. Now let's move on to a least well-known Flash, and if I have anything to say about it, the sexiest Flash. Her name's Sela Allen, and while she was fighting a supervillain, she ended up getting crippled, and she was placed in the Speed Force to recover. And she ended up fusing with the Speed Force. Her consciousness was fused with the Speed Force. And now she interacts with people as a living embodiment of Speed Force energy. And for those of you that have been confused when I say the Speed Force, that is essentially the fourth dimension in the DC multiverse, aka all of time, which is, if you can see, the main 52 bubbles inside the bigger bubble. Well, that little yellow glowing thing, that's the Speed Force. And like I said, it encompasses all of the DC multiverse. So she would be above the multiverse, which would put her, well, considering the fact that she literally is the Speed Force, that would put her at high fourth dimensional. You could even make the argument that she's infinite fourth dimensional, given the fact that there's supposed to be infinite multiverses via time manipulation, because remember how the Flash was distorting the multiverse? Well, that says that the DC multiverse not only has the string theory model, but it also has a quantum side. And in the quantum multiverse, there's infinite possibilities, because every time there's a choice, the timeline splits. And also, DC has crossed over with Marvel, and Marvel, it has been stated that they have an infinite multiverse via quantum multiverse and not brain multiverses, but they also do have brain multiverses, as shown in the Spider-Verse series, and also how the Flash, in the first universe storyline, the Flash was able to go to different universes by vibrating, and the first time the Flash came in contact with Marvel, he did it the same way, by vibrating. So now that that's out of the way, so yeah, she's high fourth dimensional. You could say infinite fourth dimensional, because, like I said, the multiverse if it contains all of the quantum universes, that's infinite amount. So yeah, infinite fourth dimensional for Sela Allen. What a powerhouse. Now let's move on. Oh, I totally forgot. I almost forgot the speed portion, right? The most important part of the Flash. Now, like I said, he's faster than Superman, which is billions of times faster than light, and everybody knows about the famous feat where the Flash saves the entire population of that city in less time than it took the bomb to go off. That's about 16 trillion times the speed of light. So that's base Flash, and that's actually a low slash mid ball. If you want to go with the higher ball Flash, he actually outraces instant teleportation. And yeah, that's really fast. And then fourth dimensional would be above all third dimensional speeds no matter what. So the God of Death Flash and Sela Allen are just infinitely greater than infinite third dimensional speed. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Now let's move on to Goku, right? Now first off, I still see people saying that Super Saiyan God Goku isn't universal, which is surprising to me, but whatever, man. People are always going to be difficult. But here I'm going to just explain why he's universal. Now everybody says, well, in his clash with Beerus, it was him and Beerus about to destroy the universe. And it took 3 punches. Well, first off, you can't say that Beerus would be more than half of the power, since their fists are evenly aligned and Goku's fist isn't bending back. If Beerus was applying more pressure than him, Goku's arm would give out, as shown with literally anything that's too heavy for you, right? And also the fact that they weren't just about to destroy the living universe. They were about to destroy the entire macrocosm, which contains the living universe, the afterlife, the Kaioshin realm, and the demon realm. Much of these are universal in size, because the living universe is, well, the universe. The demon realm is universal in size. It's actually stated in the Buu Saga to be equal in size to the living universe. And then there's the afterlife, which I think it was heaven was supposed to be about the size of the universe, plus hell, and then the Kaioshin realm, which is multi-galaxy in size. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. That's 3+ universes. You can even say it's 4, as a matter of fact. So, and then we have after the universal shockwaves, right? Oh, and if you're still wondering, well, how do you know it was reaching the entire macrocosm? Well, the shockwaves were reaching the Kaioshin realm, as shown when the Kais are freaking out and about worried and about to die. You know, that's pretty solid evidence, right? So yeah, and then if you look at the map, that bubble outside the rest of the macrocosm, that's the Kai planet, right? Their little dimension type thing. And after the initial shockwaves, Goku and Beerus were both outputting more power. And keep in mind, they were both equal during the universal shockwave, and most of the fight, they were swapping hands pretty equally, right? Now, you can see even the size of their energy is roughly the same. And also, if you're saying, well, it didn't actually destroy anything, because I have seen people try and claim nothing was destroyed. Well, as a matter of fact, things were destroyed. You see here, planets disintegrated. Not disintegrated, but broken, right? And then there have even been, later on, after they do their second clash, not only were planets broken, but the leftover chunks were being obliterated. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. And now, keep in mind, the Kais are saying that 3 punches, yeah, everything's doomed, right? And you're like, well, why wasn't the Earth destroyed? Well, I mean, you could just slap on plot hole, but no, we actually have an explanation. As in, Hercule, aka Mr. Satan, was, like, how are we alive? And then, he saw Whis catch the spaceship, and he was like, what are you doing? And then Whis said, Beerus made a promise that he would not destroy the Earth if Goku wins. So that's why the Earth was saved, because of Whis. Now, keep in mind, after the universal shockwaves, Goku and Beerus increased their ki output numerous times over, as shown there. And when Goku and Beerus clash, the third time, Goku perfected the mastery of his energy, right? As shown when he's like, I did it! And then the Supreme Kai was like, yep. Goku made their hands hit each other at the exact same angle and force, then thus confirming that Goku was at least half the energy. And then Goku said, yeah, to tell you the truth, I was trying to perfect that around the second clash. So the second clash was actually Goku trying to suppress it and not let the macrocosm die. And then Beerus is like, dang, he was trying new techniques during his fight with me. And then Goku says flat out that he's trying to get more energy, and then Beerus is like, why would you want more energy? You're already a god. And then they clash again, making another universal shockwave, and this shockwave is bare minimum as strong as the other ones, and then they increase their ki output. And then Goku, the Beerus even notes that Goku has become stronger many times over during their fight. And then, Goku runs out of his Super Saiyan God energy and, goes to a Super Saiyan form, and he notes that he didn't feel weaker at all. And then Beerus explains why. He says you've absorbed it into your own power. And then the narrator says Goku's fighting with power that can destroy the universe. And then Goku lets out more power. Oh, and also during their fight, they made giant ki dragons, and then that were just as powerful as they were, and then absorbed their ki dragons, which should make them at least twice as strong. So if you said Goku was half that power, well, nope. And now here's even more confirmation. Goku and Beerus made blasts that fuse together, and then the Supreme Kai say it's high energy produced from the clash of their powers, as in both of their powers fuse together, and now they just have to like push on it to see who wins. And then here's Beerus adding more energy with his flicks, because he's been barely even trying this whole time. He lies and saying, oh yeah, I'm gonna go full power, totally. And then here's Goku. The power knocks him out of his Super Saiyan form to his base, and then here's him punching out the freaking blast, which has both of their powers. And then he says, Beerus, just because you're a god, you don't decide other people's limits, right? Now let's move on to Goku's hacks. He has mind reading, as shown here when he read Krillin's mind, and then he also has mind resistance. Him and Vegeta, since they're both Saiyans and both get their energy from the same place, you can scale their hack resistance from each other. And here's Vegeta, Goku saying, so you let Babidi into your mind, right? And he was like, yeah, what else was I supposed to do to be able to fight you? And then here's Babidi trying to get Vegeta to do what he says. And then here's Vegeta be-gone-thoughting him, telling him that they have nothing to do with him. And also in your case, you're saying, oh, well, that's an outlier. No, because here's an interview from Akira Toriyama. They asked, what is the key to winning in battle? And Akira Toriyama responds by saying, in battle, the most important thing is the size of your ki and your control over it. Ki as a concept includes courage, which includes such spiritual powers as Genki, courage, Yuki, and right-mindedness, Shoki. No matter how much you train, there are limits to the physical strength, and the only way to overcome it is through ki. I think Goku was able to approach the mightiest warriors in the universe through strengthening his ki. Also, Goku has an ability that can erase your soul, which is the Hakai ability. He uses it in the manga. And if you're saying, well, that's the manga, God of Destruction Toppo was able to use it, and his Supreme Kai says he's able to use it since he's a God of Destruction candidate, which so is Goku. Whis offered both Goku and Vegeta the job of God of Destruction. And here's Toppo using the Hakai. And then here's Frieza being like, I've already experienced this, right? And then he's suppressed it, which is a good time to note that Goku has counters to soul erasure, as in his soul dying. And here's Frieza getting one-shotted, but still not dying. And then here's confirmation that, yeah, the Hakai can kill souls, because here's Beerus using it to murder a ghost. And then here's Whis saying, ghosts or not, Beerus, there's nothing that Beerus-sama cannot destroy. And then here's Goku taking the Hakai that Golden Frieza had to sweat to compress in base. So yeah, that's something worth pointing out. Now, Goku, Vegeta, we scale Goku's power from Vegeta as we go forward into the Super Saiyan Blue forms right before the Tournament of Power. And we do this by Vegeta busting the hyperbolic time chamber in base, which was stated to be infinite in size. And then also they say they can beat Infinite Zamasu if they just had a Sensu Bean or something. And here's them holding off his power in base. It's base Goku, base Vegeta, and base Super Saiyan Trunks. He couldn't even go Super Saiyan Rage. And this Zamasu was spreading throughout the Dragon Ball multiverse and to other timelines, which is 4th dimensional bare minimum. Honestly, as a whole, I'd say Infinite Zamasu would be 5th dimensional, possibly 6th dimensional, some people say. Honestly, I'd say 5th dimensional is more Zamasu's range, but some people say 6th dimensional. And then here's Whis and Beerus sensing him, and they're just like, well, that makes my skin tingle, but Beerus is still about to fight him. That's going to be important later, when we scale to Jiren, right? When we scale Ultra Instinct Goku. Now, if you're saying the whole busting the hyperbolic time chamber thing was an outlier, here's Vegeta turning Super Saiyan, powering up a little bit, and then not only does he bust the chamber, but he emits a giant beam, so not only did he fill up an infinite space, but he exceeded that amount, which is 4th dimensional. So yeah, not an outlier. And then here's Piccolo saying, that bastard forced his way out again. And now we're gonna go on to Ultra Instinct Goku, right? We have to scale from Jiren. Well, actually, this feat in particular, Goku and Jiren both perform the exact same feat, and that's shaking the world of Void, which is an infinite realm with no space or time. Now, remember when I said Beerus was about to fight Infinite Zamasu, which was 4th, possibly 5th, maybe 6th dimensional if you go there? Well, yeah, he was crapping himself at the appearance of Jiren. Jiren just appeared and flexed, and Beerus was like, all this energy coming from just one warrior! Now, Goku had to use the Super Spirit Bomb, and, spoiler alert, it didn't work. But Goku had energy from Androids 17 and 18, which have infinite energy reserves, and he thought he was gonna beat Jiren with the Spirit Bomb, right? Well, it ended up not working. Jiren actually ends up blinking away the Spirit Bomb. Not only that is stronger than Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20, but also being pushed by Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20. Also, Goku can learn techniques after seeing them basically instantly, like he did with the Kamehameha. I like this meme right here. Remember when it took 50 years to master the Kamehameha? Master Roshi remembers. Also, he copied the Solar Flare and a few other techniques. Now, also, to go along with the 4th dimensional thing, here's Goku in Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 10. Before he even, before the Goku Black Arc hits, and he does that, and then he gets bare minimum 10 times stronger after the Goku Black Arc, because he's able to do the same thing in regular Super Saiyan Blue. And then here's Jiren being frozen and hits Time Skip, which is all of his time energy. It's similar to what Flash would do to freeze someone in time. I mean, to speed steal them. Well, actually, it would be more like him taking them to the Speed Force dimension, and then they just can't do anything. So yeah. So this feat is mainly so if, like you say, Flash took Goku to the Speed Force, it wouldn't do anything to him. Alright, now let's go on with Goku's speed, because we're saying, oh, he's 4th dimensional. How about before that? Well, Goku's Super Saiyan God form scales from Super Saiyan 3, and Super Saiyan 3 was 4 million times the speed of light, bare minimum lowballing, because, well, I have the calculations for Super Saiyan 2 Gohan in my Cell vs. Saitama video, and basically, it says that Saitama would be 1 million times the speed of light, bare minimum. So if you multiply that by 4, you get 4 million. And so yeah, that's Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and then you multiply that by 200 billion, and you get a number well over the trillions. So base Super Saiyan God Goku would be above a base, low-balled to mid-balled Flash, arguably. Now, let's get on to the actual fight, right? So, if we say Super Saiyan God Goku, the one that fought Beerus, versus a base Flash, who do I think would win? Well, considering the fact that Flash was distorting the multiverse, I think, like I said, that would be around the low multiversal mark, so about 1,000 times universal. I think he would just completely dominate Goku, especially if we use the speed feat of him being faster than teleportation. If you say that he's only trillions of times the speed of light, Goku might be able to pull out a win because he'd be a few thousand times faster. But I mean, against someone who's, if you're a few thousand times stronger and this person's a few thousand times faster, it can go either way, honestly. So, low-balled Flash against Super Saiyan God Goku, it's pretty up in the air. I'd honestly have to give the fight to Flash, because, I mean, he could just kind of dip into the Speed Force. Bring Goku into the Speed Force with him, and just kind of kill him there. So yeah, I'd say that low-ball Flash beats Goku 6 out of 10 high diff, and a more high-balled base Flash would beat Goku 9 out of 10 low diff, right? Now, let's go on to a Super Saiyan God Goku around the Revival of Frieza arc. This is a better matchup with base Flash that's more high-balled, because that's where his speed starts to break my calculator. So, yeah, and that Goku would be a few trillion times universal. So, they have relative speeds, and Goku would be a bit stronger than Flash there, but not by a large margin. So I'd say Super Saiyan God Goku wins 7 out of 10 mid-diff. Now, Super Saiyan Blue Goku from that same time period, I'd say wins Flash 9 out of 10. Again, mid to high diff, because, the Flash still has his speed force ability. He could take Goku into the Speed Force, and then possibly pull out a win there. Now we're going to move on to Unmastered Ultra Instinct, aka Ultra Instinct Omen, versus God of Death Flash. Now, God of Death Flash wins, and it's pretty bad here, because, like I said, he would be a relatively high 4th dimensional, like mid to high 4th dimensional, and Unmastered Ultra Instinct would be relative to Jiren, who I'd put at about, he would be relative to base Jiren, who I'd put about mid 4th dimensional, and then he's relative, like I said, but slightly weaker, so that Jiren would probably be on the level of Darkseid, and Goku would be weaker than him, and that Jiren that's on the level of Darkseid, Flash would one-shot. So yeah, he one-shot Goku as well. Now, let's move on to God of Death Flash versus Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, which is a bit of a different story, because Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, he can actually be scaled to high 4th dimensional, possibly infinite 4th dimensional, via lore, because Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, he beat Jiren, and not just did he beat Jiren, but like I said, base Jiren was on the level of this dark side. Well, Jiren ended up getting an amp, like a rage boost type deal, and Goku still trashed him. Like, it wasn't even funny. It was sad. So that Goku would actually, amped Jiren would actually be slightly weaker than Flash. So I'd say Master Ultra Instinct Goku, if you lowball and say he's just high 4th dimensional, would be slightly above this Flash, and then you can say he's infinite 4th dimensional because the lore says he'll be the invincible him, which, I mean, it implies some sort of infinite scaling, whether it be 3rd, 4th, or 5th dimensional, and I'd say he'd be at comfortably 4th dimensional. So yeah, between mid and high 4th, between high and infinite 4th dimensional. Now we'll go on to Sela Allen versus Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku. We're not even gonna do Unmastered Ultra Instinct Goku. He gets one-shotted, and it's pretty bad, okay? Because this Sela Allen's stronger than God of Death Flash. I'm gonna tell you that right now. This fight, Sela Allen versus Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, it starts out as a good fight. They probably would swap hands a little bit, because Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, if you say he's high 4th dimensional and you say Sela Allen's high 4th dimensional, they're pretty good, except Mastered Ultra Instinct does have a time limit. Not as bad as Ultra Instinct Omen, but it still has a time limit. So once it runs out, Sela Allen would one-shot the tired out Goku. And if you say it's infinite 4th dimensional, well, I mean, Sela Allen is literally the 4th dimension, which encompasses all of the infinite multiverses of the quantum timelines. So all of the infinite multiverses of Marvel and DC, all of that would be encompassed in the Speed Force. And Sela Allen is literally the Speed Force. They will swap hands at first, again, until the time limit runs out, and then Goku gets one-shotted while he's out of energy. So yeah, Sela Allen's no joke. So yeah, that's the video, and I'm gonna have Flash versus Bill Cipher coming out soon, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also I have a link in the description to my merch store, and my Discord. If you want to debate me, you think, you know, Flash every version of Flash one-shots every version of Goku, or every version of Goku one-shots any version of Flash, hit me up in Discord. We can debate. If you want any new content, let me know what you want to see, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And that's it. The Cool Geek out. Bye.
It's